For most of his legendary career, LeBron James has carried an unusual burden. Not just the weight of expectations, but the weight of scrutiny. From the moment he stepped onto the NBA hardwood at 18, LeBron has lived his life under a microscope. We watched him grow, evolve, stumble, and soar, all under the relentless glare of the social media era, a platform quick to amplify both great success and perceived shortcomings. Since the day he was drafted into the NBA, he wasn't just compared to NBA players. He was compared to legends from the very moment he was in the public eye. And while much of the basketball world did admire his brilliance on the court, others found plenty of reasons to critique him. He was too passive, too selfless, but one of the biggest was that he was not enough of a killer on the court. When people talk about cold-blooded competitors, they bring up Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, players who, when they smelled blood, didn't hesitate. They didn't defer, they destroyed. Now, by the time we reached the 2017 to 2018 season, LeBron James had certainly cultivated a clutch gene, silencing many of his doubters with game-winning heroics etched into NBA lore. Yet despite this, the whispers persisted. Memories of moments like the 2010 Eastern Conference Finals against the Celtics and the agonizing 2011 NBA Finals against the Mavericks, where he seemed to shrink under the immense pressure, lingered in fans' minds. Even his triumphant championship victory with the Cavaliers in 2016, a historic 3-1 comeback, was not so much a dominant display of force, but more of a desperate rally with their backs firmly against the wall. But the 2017 to 2018 season and the ensuing playoffs would become the stage for LeBron James to finally, unequivocally, silence this particular criticism. It was his moment to demonstrate to the world that beneath the layers of playmaking brilliance, he was ruthless. He was unrelenting. This wasn't the LeBron we had grown used to seeing. This was something darker, more focused. This was the LeBron that many doubted existed. To understand how monumental this season was for LeBron, we need to go back to the 2017 playoffs. LeBron was coming off of his 7th straight NBA Finals appearance. No one had done that since Bill Russell. In that 2017 Finals, LeBron became the first player in history to average a triple-double on the league's biggest stage. And yet, the Cavaliers had lost. Something was breaking apart behind the scenes. The relationship between LeBron and Kyrie had deteriorated, and it showed during the 2017 playoffs. According to teammate James Jones, there were many days during the playoffs when Kyrie didn't speak to a single teammate. The tension, palpable to those within the Cavs organization, began with Irving's growing desire to step out of LeBron's considerate shadow and environment. Then, in the offseason, the departure of former general manager David Griffin, which then led to the revelation that Cleveland had even considered trading Irving to the Indiana Pacers for Paul George, all reportedly stunned the fiercely independent point guard. His desire for autonomy, to lead his own team and cultivate his own culture, outweighed the allure of playing alongside of one of the greatest players of all time. Reports even surfaced that Irving threatened to sit out the entire 17-18 season and undergo knee surgery if his demand was not met. The Cavaliers were forced to deal their young superstar. In August 2017, Kyrie Irving was traded to the Boston Celtics. The Cavs received a package involving Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, and Brooklyn's 2018 first-round pick. Now, Isaiah Thomas was coming off of an incredible season, averaging 28.9 points per game and earning the nickname King of the Fourth for his late-game heroics. But that same fantastic regular season had taken a toll on the smaller guard's frame. Thomas suffered a serious hip injury that would drastically affect his future. He wouldn't return to the court until January of 2018, and until then, LeBron was essentially carrying the Cavaliers by himself. Fortunately for Cleveland, Kevin Love stepped up in Thomas's absence, enjoying a resurgent start to the year. By the time Thomas was finally cleared to play in his first game in a Cavaliers uniform, the team held a respectable 24-12 record, good enough for the 3rd seed in a middling Eastern Conference. However, the chemistry between LeBron James and Isaiah Thomas upon his return never materialized, and the Cavaliers' performance suffered as a result. From Thomas's debut on January 2nd until just before the trade deadline on February 6th, the team stumbled to a dismal 6-10 record. Their defense was the 2nd worst in the league during this stretch. The period of disarray was at its apex, with an especially horrible second-half collapse against the Orlando Magic, a team at the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings with no realistic playoff aspirations. There were inexplicable lapses in effort, with LeBron visibly disengaged on multiple possessions, at times allowing the offense to function at a disjointed 4-on-5. The result was an embarrassing 116-98 defeat, a low point that amplified the growing sense of crisis surrounding the Cavaliers. The humiliating loss to the Magic served as a stark wake-up call. Between that game and their next contest against Jimmy Butler and the Minnesota Timberwolves, trade discussions began to swirl with increasing urgency within the Cavaliers organization. It was clear that drastic measures were needed to salvage their season and appease their increasingly frustrated superstar. In that pivotal matchup against the Timberwolves, a noticeable shift occurred in LeBron James's demeanor. A fire seemed to reignite within him, a passion that had been conspicuously absent for over a month. He delivered a virtuoso performance, tallying 37 points, 10 rebounds, and 15 assists. But the box score was only part of the story. In the dying moments of overtime, LeBron showcased a renewed intensity. First swatting away a potential game-winning shot by Jimmy Butler, and then, with ice in his veins, calmly sinking a game-winning basket on the ensuing possession. And then, almost immediately after that thriller against the Wolves, the Cavs blew up their roster. They traded away nearly half their team, including Isaiah Thomas, Dwayne Wade, Derrick Rose, Jay Crowder, Iman Shumpert, and Channing Frye. In return, they brought in younger and more athletic players: George Hill, Jordan Clarkson, Rodney Hood, and Larry Nance Jr. Reinvigorated by the new additions and sensing an opportunity to compete for yet another championship for his city, LeBron James elevated his game to an even higher level in the final 30 games of the regular season. He averaged 29.5 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 10 assists on 54.1% shooting to close out the regular season. He was doing everything: scoring, playmaking, leading, and make no mistake, he was the only reason Cleveland stayed afloat. LeBron's Cavaliers managed to secure a 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. While many analysts and fans acknowledged LeBron's individual brilliance, there was a widespread skepticism about the team's overall chances of making another deep playoff run. The prevailing sentiment was that reaching the NBA Finals for a 4th consecutive year would be an exceptionally arduous challenge, even for a player of LeBron's caliber. In the first round, the Cavs faced the Indiana Pacers, a gritty, hungry team led by Victor Oladipo. The Pacers came out firing, delivering a decisive 98-80 blow in Game 1, sending a clear message that this series would be no easy path for the defending Eastern Conference champions. The two teams traded blows over the next 3 games, splitting them at 2 apiece. This set the stage for a pivotal Game 5 in Cleveland, a must-win for both squads. In this high-stakes encounter, LeBron James delivered a performance for the ages, scoring a staggering 44 of his team's 98 points, including a clutch game-winning three-pointer that sealed a crucial victory and gave the Cavaliers a 3-2 series lead. It was a dagger, a statement, and a glimpse of what was coming. This game marked a discernible shift in LeBron's approach. This was not the typically unselfish player always looking to make the optimal pass. This was a man determined to will his team to victory through sheer offensive force, undeterred by any adversity. In that moment, LeBron was destroying any remaining narratives about his lack of killer instinct. This wasn't LeBron making the quote right basketball play. This was LeBron saying, "I'll take it from here." He was becoming the cold-blooded scorer that the basketball world had long wondered if he could be. The series returned to Indiana for Game 6, where the Pacers fought valiantly to force a decisive Game 7 back in Cleveland. In that winner-take-all contest, LeBron James, playing all but 4 minutes, exerted an almost suffocating control over the game's tempo. He deliberately slowed the pace to an incredibly methodical 87.2 possessions per 48 minutes, a stark contrast to the league's regular season average of 97.3. In this slower, more deliberate environment, LeBron was able to dictate the flow, meticulously dissecting the Pacers' defense. He scored 45 points, grabbed 8 rebounds, dished out 7 assists, and even snagged 4 steals, carrying his team on his back and securing their passage to the second round. Next up, the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors had entered the 2017-18 season with a singular goal: to secure the coveted number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs, thereby guaranteeing home court advantage, and, they hoped, finally vanquishing the LeBron James-led Cleveland Cavaliers, who had eliminated them in the previous 2 postseasons. Their mission was successful. Behind their all-star backcourt duo of Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, the Raptors had a franchise-best 59-win season, and indeed claimed the top seed. This was supposed to be Toronto's year, their opportunity to finally dethrone the king. The significance of this contest cannot be overstated. If LeBron James was to guide his underdog Cavaliers past this formidable Raptors squad, he would need to be more than just good. He would need to be ice cold, instilling a level of fear and intimidation in his opponents unlike anything seen before in his career. What transpired was a performance of such utter dominance against an entire team that the internet renamed the city of Toronto to LeBronto. In a stunning 4-game sweep, LeBron averaged an unbelievable 34 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 11.3 assists per game, shooting an incredibly efficient 55.3% from the field. But the raw statistics failed to capture the extent of LeBron's mastery in this series. It was how he dismantled the Raptors that was truly breathtaking. He hit impossible turnaround fadeaway jumpers from seemingly every angle in Game 2. He casually banked in a 1-foot floater off the glass to win Game 3 at the buzzer, with the Cavaliers not even bothering to call a timeout. By the end of the series, LeBronto was born. The Raptors, utterly demoralized, would be forced to completely overhaul their core in the ensuing offseason. The Eastern Conference Finals presented a fascinating contrast. On one side stood the veteran-laden Cleveland Cavaliers, their sights set on a 4th consecutive NBA Finals appearance. On the other, a youthful and exceptionally talented Boston Celtics team, who had weathered early season injuries to their key veterans and forged an improbable playoff run around a core of an average age of just 25.1 years old. The series that unfolded was a grueling back-and-forth battle, a true dogfight that pushed both teams to their limits. Inevitably, the Eastern Conference crown would be decided in yet another dramatic Game 7 for the Cavaliers and LeBron James, who by this point had been physically and mentally exhausted after navigating such a demanding playoff journey. Once again, Game 7 came down to the pace of play, which LeBron deliberately dragged down to a snail's pace of 86. He was consciously pulling this young, athletic Celtics team into an era of basketball they had only witnessed as children, a slower, more physical style that was commonplace in the mid-2000s when LeBron was entering the league, and a style with which he was incredibly familiar. This deliberate shift in tempo seemed to rattle the Celtics, whose youthful exuberance was stifled. They shot an abysmal 7 of 39 from three-point range, their worst performance from beyond the arc all season. LeBron, displaying an almost superhuman endurance, played all 48 minutes, scoring 35 points, grabbing 15 rebounds, and dishing out 9 assists. He willed his team to victory, securing his 8th consecutive NBA Finals appearance, an achievement matched only by the legendary Bill Russell. This improbable triumph set the stage for the 4th consecutive NBA Finals showdown between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors. While matchup fatigue was undeniably a factor for many viewers, Game 1 of this series would witness arguably the greatest scoring performance of LeBron James's illustrious career. Facing the overwhelming firepower of a Warriors team led by Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, LeBron knew he would have to play near-perfect basketball just to keep pace, and in Game 1, he basically did. He poured in an astounding 51 points, along with 8 rebounds and 8 assists, shooting an incredibly efficient 59.4% from the field, trading basket for basket with the seemingly unstoppable Warriors. Tragically, LeBron's Herculean effort was ultimately overshadowed by one of the most infamous blunders in NBA Finals history, a late-game miscue by his teammate J.R. Smith. This blunder seemed to deflate all of the remaining energy and motivation LeBron poured into this game, and the Warriors ultimately prevailed in overtime, 124-114. The frustration and anger LeBron felt after this devastating loss reportedly led him to break his hand by punching the whiteboard in the locker room. He apparently played the remainder of the NBA Finals series with this significant injury, later admitting that he, quote, let the emotions get the best of me. But in defeat, something had changed. For the most part, people no longer questioned LeBron James's killer instinct. They no longer doubted if he could take over a game in the biggest moments. He did it over and over again, against younger teams, better teams, and longer odds. In 2018, LeBron didn't just silence his critics, he redefined his legacy. He didn't need a super team. He didn't need a perfect roster. All he needed was the ball, the moment, and a reason. And he gave us one of the most iconic playoff runs in NBA history. It wasn't about stats, it was about mentality. This was about showing the world that LeBron James wasn't just a great basketball player, but this season, he was a killer, and he proved that beyond a shadow of a doubt. So what do you guys think? Did LeBron's 2018 season prove to you that he had a killer instinct? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.